First time it's accused. I call this meeting to order. May we have roll call, please?
Commissioner Bennett.
Here.
Commissioner Chapman.
Here.
Commissioner Hallen.
Here.
Commissioner Rain.
Here.
Commissioner Watts.
Here.
Vice Chair Summers.
Here.
Chair Blair.
Here. At this time, will we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May I have a recommendation for the minutes of the last meeting, please?
So move.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
I will abstain. I was not here. Okay. And do you have any community development reports at this time?
Yeah, sure. Members of the Commission, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. A couple of items to report real quickly. Last night, we had a public input session at Real Salado College regarding the proposed changes to the village boundaries. We were the fortunate recipient of a number of comments from the residents. It was very well attended, including members of the Commission, and we provided you with a summary of those comments at the dais this evening. Another thing I want to point out to you is that we're having another public outreach meeting on Tuesday, December 9th. It's regarding the Loop 303 beautification project. Again, we're hoping for a positive response from residents and to consider their input. If you can attend that, that would be great. Lastly, on Thursday, City Council is going to have a work session, and two of the items on their work session are items that are going to affect this group. The first item is the review of the sign code, which you all considered a few months ago. And then the last item on the work session agenda is some proposed suggestions on streamlining our development review process. Once we get some feedback from City Council, if they tell us to move forward, then obviously the Commission will be very involved in the updates to the code and the processes, so forth, to bring that to fruition. So you may want to watch that on Thursday. I wouldn't say it's must-see TV, but it might be of interest to you. That's all I have to report.
Very good. At this time, we're going to move forward to RZ08-109.
Good evening, Madam Chairman, members of the Commission. Tonight I'm bringing forward to you RZ08109. This is the Grand Avenue and Happy Valley Road properties. This is located in the northwest section of the city along Grand Avenue. And this, just last year, in November of 2007, was annexed into the city as part of a larger project. And a little bit of a contextual map here. Across to the northeast is the Asante project. To the south are residential 1-acre lots. And to the west is the proposed Rio Rancho PAD. I'd also like to point out that this is only 2 parcels. And you'll see on here that there are actually 5 tracts, and these parcels were split up by the acquisition of the Happy Valley Road alignment here. You can see the old alignment to the south. This is the new alignment, and the alignment of Citrus Road in through here. If this was to do any combinations or splits in the future, you'll see something as a commercial subdivision or a plat in the future. Presently, the zoning along Grand Avenue is a strip of C2, and some of these are what we call dual zones. Some of the properties do have both C2 and R143. And what we're proposing to do is to change that to a C2 zone for commercial use, and this will be for offices, retail, that sort of use. I'd like to include that any site plan that does come in will come back to the Commission for review, for design review and such. And I am here with the applicant if there's any questions you may have.
Commissioner Summers, any questions?
No questions.
Commissioner Ryan?
No questions.
Commissioner Chapman?
No questions.
Any questions?
No questions.
Commissioner Watts?
No.
Commissioner Bennett?
No questions.
I have no questions. At this time, this is a call to the public. Anyone wishing to speak on this? Seeing none, I close it, and I ask for a recommendation, please.
Yes, I move to recommend approval to the Mayor and City Council RZ
8-109, a rezone for both sides of Happy Valley Road, west of Grand Avenue.
Second.
Commissioner Summers.
Yes.
Commissioner Ryan.
Yes.
Commissioner Chapman.
Yes.
Commissioner.
Yes.
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 I also, yes, so it has approved.
Thank you.
At this time, we'll hear CUP 08-108, please.
Good evening, Madam Chairman and members of the Commission. This is a project proposed for the Quick Trip, number 410. The subject site is located on the northwest corner of Grand Avenue and Mountain View Boulevard in the emerging retail area that is encompassed south of Grand Avenue. To put this project into context, the Ancona professional offices are adjacent and southeast of the site. You have residential development to the south. You have a pad for future commercial office to the southwest. And surrounding the parcel is future commercial and office. In addition, across from Grand Avenue to the east is the Sun City development, which is currently, it's in Maricopa County. Furthermore, this project, as it relates to distancing from surrounding residential, the project is approximately, if you're looking at the Maricopa County portion, approximately 380 feet away from Maricopa County, which is, which in the middle it has a golf course, the railroad tracks, as well as Grand Avenue. To the south, in the City of Surprise Incorporated area, the residential development is set back approximately 740 feet from the site, which is buffered from the Ancona two-story building that's existing. In addition, the project has existing access to the site. The Grand Avenue professional offices that were approved quite a while ago did off-site improvements. Those off-site improvements included a curb cut for right-in, right-out along Grand Avenue here. And it also included a curb cut on Mountain View Boulevard, which will include full turning movements. If you want to zoom out a little bit, this project can also be accessed, as we said before, from Grand Avenue. And there's a number of streets that lead to this site. Recently, Mountain View Boulevard, we filled in the gap. I don't know if any of you were familiar with that with the Trader Joe's project. Now the Mountain View Boulevard site will connect through all the other collector roads and also the arterial roads west of Grand Avenue. As we said before, looking closer to the site, I know the north arrow might be a little awkward looking at it since it's in an angle, but the access point on the local road, which is the full access point, will be on Mountain View Boulevard. And this is going to be a right-in, right-out off of Grand Avenue. In addition, staff looked at the pedestrian circulation on site. Before I touch on that, there's also future shared access that's going to stub out for future development as it progresses around the site. In addition, there's also pedestrian connections that will be constructed that will lead from the Collector Road, Mountain View Boulevard, which will have most of your pedestrian traffic, onto the retail convenience store site, which consists of approximately 5,100 square feet. Furthermore, staff reviewed the architecture of the site and found it compatible with the surrounding area. The front elevation and rear elevation present four-sided architecture with varied materials as well as roof line variations, and the sides as well. Furthermore, I'd be happy to answer any questions the Commission may have. Thank you.
Commissioner Ryan.
Yeah, I have a few questions. Under the departmental review in
Yes.
your write-up, it talks about inconsistencies in the existing lot size and dimensions.
Yes.
Could you explain that, please?
Sure. Let me go to the through the chair, commissioners. Let me go. This is the technical site plan. The subject parcel existing doesn't encompass the site plan. There's a little bit of room, but the existing parcel is too small for this site. What the applicant submitted to community development, a final plat amendment, which will be going forward to City Council in the next month, to increase the lot size to accommodate this parcel. That will need to take place prior to the building permit and C of O process for this project. So right now, the parcel that exists is too small to accommodate the site. So they're doing an amendment to increase the size.
Mountain View Boulevard is not completely paved. Is it going to be QT's responsibility to finish the paving, to connect the two where the pavement ends on both sides?
Let me show you here. Let's see if this will work a little better. The portion the Commissioner is referring to, this is where the Trader Joe's site is here, and this portion here is where the gap is for the streets. This gap will be filled in. The city is doing a joint venture with the Trader Joe's property owner to complete that street. We're also looking, there's alignment issues and drainage issues that we're working on. So it's anticipated before C of O of this particular property that this entire area will be completed for access.
I had one other one. On stipulation B, you touched on the cross-access parking.
Yeah.
Can you show me where that's, which other sites or parts
Sure.
of the site?
Through the chair, members of the commission. Let me get my pointer back. There we go. This parcel that surrounds the site is currently vacant, and what the plat amendment that's moving forward to City Council will have cross-access agreement in there. And what will happen is this parcel will increase in size. Therefore, here, as well as here, will have an easement for cross-access to the site. So when this project develops, and also the lot that surrounds this site will come before the commission for site plan review at a later date. They will have to connect into that system. So it's planning for future development around it. And that language will be in the recorded plat when it moves forward to council.
I have no other questions.
Commissioner Chapman.
I just have one. On Grand Avenue, is there a deceleration lane to do the right in and out?
I'll show you here. I'll have to show you an exhibit to better explain the Grand Avenue portion. I think sometimes I have too much animation. I'll get to it. There we go. Here's Grand Avenue here. And this is the project site. I think the boundary ends about right here on the northwest portion of the site. As you can see, there's an arrow in here. So if you're traveling southeast on Grand Avenue, you'll enter into a taper, which will expand into a right-only lane. So when you're traveling southeast on Grand Avenue, there's a length of a right-only lane that extends from this point all the way to this point. So it's a long right-only lane.
Okay.
And it's anticipated, speaking with traffic, that when ADOT expands Grand Avenue, that within that there's quite a bit of right-of-way in there. Within that right-of-way, they'll be responsible for putting deceleration lanes in where appropriate at the time when the design's finalized. And it's also anticipated that a deceleration lane will also be in this location here.
Okay, thank you. I have no other questions.
Commissioner Howland.
No questions.
Commissioner Watts.
None.
Commissioner Bennett.
No questions.
I have just one, and that's verification. Has the agreement already been where it's all finalized that they're going to take over more property? Is that correct, or is that still?
Yes. Yeah,
that has been finalized?
Yes, it is finalized. They have to go through the legislative process through the city. In Maricopa County, they can actually go right to county and do it, but they have to go through our process, get it approved by council before it's official. So it hasn't been approved by council yet, but it will. And it has been agreed to by the owners.
Okay, it's been agreed to by the owners, but
Right.
council has not
That's correct.
agreed to this yet.
That's correct.
When does it go in front of the council?
It's in the final. It's in the final review stages with staff right now. It's fairly minor. It'll most likely go to council in the next 6 to 8 weeks, and it's anticipated. Typically, building plans when a project is submitted to community development, building plans usually aren't ready until 4 to 5 weeks after a planning and zoning commission approves a project. So they're timing it where once it's recorded, approved by council, then they can submit their building plans.
And does this project, when it's all finalized, is that moving forward quite quickly?
Um,
Are the builders going to do this quite quickly?
we haven't had any slowdown on this project yet, so I don't anticipate any, I haven't heard of any slowdown on the project. If you would like, I could defer to the applicant.
I just wanted to make sure of that. Commissioner Summers, any questions?
Yes, I did have a question, and I'm wondering how the site drainage or retention is accommodated on this site? I didn't see anything, or I couldn't find it on the plans, put it that way.
I'll show you here. Here's a technical site plan. There'll be retention on this portion of the site. There's actually, I apologize that an engineer is not here, but there's actually a culvert. It's quite a drainage system. There's a drainage channel that also runs along Grand Avenue. So the applicant will have retention capacity in this area here, and there's also a drainage portion on Grand Avenue that they can utilize as well as on this side.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
That's it.
Commissioners, before I open it up to the public, anyone have any other questions? Okay, thank you. At this time, it does require a public hearing, and I would like to call Kay Brunson, who wanted to speak on this. Hi. Hi, come on up.
Commissioners, I'm probably going to be a voice in the wilderness here, but it seems that there's a convenience store at Valero, there's a convenience store at Chevron, and there'll be a convenience store now at QT, all within 1 mile radius, at least. I mean, it's with less than a half mile from the Chevron. And I understand the City of Surprise is growing, but they're not exactly growing in that area to support 3 convenience stores without doing harm to the previous 2 convenience stores. And I know I probably am not going to affect your decision here tonight, but it's something that I'd like for you to consider and think about, is overdeveloping in that area with convenience stores. If QT is put in, they're a massive, large corporate convenience store, and they have the capacity to put the 2 other convenience stores either out of business or very close to it. And it's something that we would like the Commission to consider in this project. I understand that the project is very far along in its planning and acceptance, but it's something that we would like them to consider. The older population in Sun City West and Sun City Grand already contributes to probably most of the accidents on Grand. At Parkview Place especially, it's a high accident rate. And so if you put a QT in and you have them coming in and out and going in and out, you're going to have another area where you can expect more accidents to take place. So it's just something that we'd like the Commission to consider in their deliberations. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Anyone else wishing to speak on this? Seeing none, I close it and ask for a recommendation, please.
I move to approve CUP 08-108, a conditional use permit for Quick Trip number 410, and to adopt staff's findings and stipulations A through D.
I second that.
Commissioner Ryan.
Yes.
Commissioner Chapman.
Yes.
Commissioner Howland.
Yes.
Commissioner Watts.
Yes.
Commissioner Binnick.
Yes.
Commissioner Summers.
Yes.
I also, yes, it has approved. Thank you.
Yep. Madam Chair, if I could just address the Commission for one thing. As part of the development streamlining process that I mentioned at the work session in front of City Council on Thursday, one of the issues that I'm going to ask for feedback from Council is the concept of bundling, if you will, or combining permits. And you guys just gave a really good case in point of why I think that's a good idea. You were approving a rezoning of a site, okay? But my preference is that the Planning and Zoning Commission would see the conditional use permit, the zoning, the site plan, and the subdivision, the platted subdivision, all at the same time. I think that would be a more prudent way to process that. Our process currently doesn't allow that. Our city code doesn't currently allow that. But that was going to be my recommendation to City Council. Developers may be a little bit concerned about it because it would require more upfront creation of data, a little bit more out of pocket, but at the same time it would go through the process a little bit quicker. But more importantly to us would be that when residents come forward, they could see more specifically what they're going to get at the end of the day. So that's the reason we're considering the streamlining process. And again, if we get positive reactions from council, then we'll bring that back to you.
I think it's a very good idea. I think all of the commissioners will like that idea. We'll move on to CUP 08191.
Madam Chair and Commission members, this is a request for a conditional use permit for a tutor-time child care facility located at the northeast corner of Rames and Cactus Road. This is part of the Marley Park Promenade Commercial Center that you may recall you approved a site plan for this back in March of this year, 2008. The proposal, you can see in front of you the project site. This is the site plan that you previously approved. Again, north is to the left. We have Reams, which runs north-south, is at the bottom of the screen, and you have Cactus here on the side. The daycare facility was shown on this previous site plan in this location. However, at that time, you did not approve the daycare use because it did require a conditional use permit, and that had not been applied for. This could have been another example of bundling at that time if they had been prepared to move forward at that moment. The facility itself is on this particular area right here. Let's see if I can get down there. In red is a 2.6 net acre site. The facility is 18,252 square feet, and there's a play area that's associated with it that's 23,515 square feet. The facility can accommodate up to 340 children and 34 teachers, as regulated by the state of Arizona Child Care Facility Licensing Standards. They're proposing hours of operation from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., and that is put in as a stipulation in the conditional use permit. See if I can go here a little bit. This is a little more detailed. You can see the play area here to the west of the site here. One thing I'd like to point out is the site plan provides 79 on-site parking stalls. Strictly from the code, if this were a standalone facility, it would require 91 spaces as per our code, yielding a deficit of 12 spaces. However, the zoning code does allow this number to be reduced based on a parking analysis by a traffic engineer, which we did receive, and with the potential of having shared parking on adjacent commercial areas. It appeared to us also that the standard in the code might be excessive given the fact that most of the children probably don't drive. But, the previously approved master site plan, as I mentioned, did reserve this site for a child care, so you have sort of seen the concept before. The elevations, they're the same elevations that you saw back in March. This is the east and the west, and the north and the south elevations. With that, I'd be glad to answer any questions that you might have.
Commissioner Chapman, any questions?
Yes, I have a couple. On
Sure.
the in the daycare, the parents are going to be, for the most part, dropping off.
They'll be dropping off. You don't. It's not a drop off where you just open the door and out. They have to take them up
take them in
and register them in. Yes.
And most of that activity is going to be taken care of early in the morning and later in the
In the evening, yes.
340 some, unless they're carpooling, is quite a bit of traffic, wouldn't it be, for coming in and out of that area?
There is, but that's not all at one time. It's going to be staggered throughout the day. Some will be coming early in the morning, some will come later on. And if I can go back to the site plan here, oops.
So it's not necessarily a traditional all-day program?
It is an all-day program, but I mean, some kids are going to be picked up. What I'm trying to suggest is that the kids will be coming and going at different times during the day. It's not all. It's not like a regular school where everybody starts at 8:15 and gets out at 3:15.
Yeah, I was just asking. I'm thinking of a working parent, and I would be at work. I'd be dropping them off and leaving them most of the day.
I believe the applicants from Tutor Time are here, and Chaddy will be glad to talk about the operations themselves.
Traffic and safety. When you have
Right.
that many people showing up at one spot in one location, if the transportation people are comfortable that
That was not really raised as an issue. If you notice from the site plan itself, there are numerous entrances into the site and opportunities to leave via Larkspur Drive and also the various curb cuts in Reams Road. I guess the issue was they felt there was enough traffic circulation in the area to accommodate any type of stacking problems that might occur.
Well, you've got people parking and walking across the driveway to bring their children in and out and so on. So another question I have is that the Department of Environmental Quality has apparently there's some soil issues there with pesticides, and that they are going to remove that. Do you know if that's been done?
That has been remediated, and they have I believe, a phase 2 clearance on that property now.
Okay, so it's clear for.
It's been remediated. Yes.
Thank you. I have no other questions.
Commissioner Howland.
No questions.
Commissioner Watts.
My question has been answered.
Commissioner Bennett.
My question has been answered.
Okay. I have a couple questions to ask. What is the distance to the closest tutor time? I know we have quite a few of them.
There's one, I believe there's one up at, it's not a tutor time, it's similar to tutor time. It's up on Reams and Bell, which is approximately 2 miles away from this particular location. And then there's another facility that's over by Cotton Lane and Bell on the north side of Bell. So there are 3 in a I would say a fairly close proximity.
Okay. And fire trucks, the access is, they have an in and an out
Yes, ma'am.
in plenty, and that has been looked at. Is
Yes,
that
ma'am.
correct?
Yes.
Okay. Commissioner Summers, any
No
questions?
questions.
Okay, this does require a, oops, I'm sorry, Commissioner Ryan.
Can you refresh my memory? You say we turned this down in March?
No, you didn't turn it down. You didn't hear the conditional use permit at the time because they had not submitted it. You had approved the conceptual site plan, the master site plan. If you recall, it had a Gold's Gym. Excuse me, right here was a Gold's Gym, and there's a car wash here on the corner. And this is the gas station car wash that had the proposed photovoltaics on the canopies over here. So you actually approved the master site plan, but you did not approve the daycare use.
Okay. Yeah. I have no other questions.
I'm sorry, I do have a couple extra
Okay.
that I just need to ask. Actually, I'd like to have the applicant, maybe he could answer this.
Hello.
Hi. Would you state your name for the record, please?
Shadi Zaki.
Okay. What I would like to know with the economy the way it is and everything, have you had a lot of requests for this at this area? How do you determine where to put it and how many children?
Sure. The number of children is actually determined by the state licensing capacity, as well as the numbers of teachers as well. As far as determining or making the determination for this particular site for a daycare, that was done by the franchisee. We are a preferred developer for tutor time, and from what I understand, their other property in Surprise is pretty much at capacity.
It is?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Good. All right. This does require a public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak on this? Seeing none, I close it and ask for a motion, please.
I move to approve CUP 08-191, a conditional use permit for tutor time, child care facility and operation, and to adopt staff findings and stipulations A through C.
I second that.
Commissioner Chapman?
Yes.
Commissioner Howland?
Yes.
Commissioner Watts?
Yes.
Commissioner Binnick? Commissioner Summers?
Yes.
Commissioner Ryan?
Yes.
I also yes, thank you.
Thank you.
At this time, I do have an open call to the public. Anyone wishing to speak about anything other than what we have discussed? Seeing none, I close it and ask for current events. I have one that I'd like to share tonight, that on December 9th, I'm going to go to jail for a day for Jerry's children. The city of Surprise is, I'm going to be here in Surprise. So I have a lot of people raising bail to keep me in jail, but I need to have money released for bail. So if anybody would like to help us with Jerry's children, we'd appreciate that at this time. There's about 12 of us that are going to do this, business people of the community, and it's for a great cause. I think Commissioner Watts last year was with me on it, and so do keep that in mind. Any other commissioners have anything to?
I just wanted to make one comment. I did go to the presentation last night for the village boundary, and as usual, the staff I thought did an excellent job, and I just want to compliment you on.
Thank you very much. Appreciate
I'll
it.
second that. Excellent job.
Great, thank you.
And that is next. The next one is next Thursday. Is that
That's correct. Yep.
Tuesday, isn't it?
Excuse me, it is
Or is
Tuesday.
it Tuesday?
Yep. Tuesday, Real Salado again.
Very good. Anyone else have anything to say? Commissioners, I do want to thank the ones that I've already made bail me out, and the mayor. So thank you very much. Anything else? Seeing none, this meeting's adjourned.